Do you think that you think a lot, or do you think a lot without thinking about whether or not you think a lot? In this video, I want to share why we think a lot, because when we understand why we think a lot, then it'll be helpful for us to do something about it and be motivated to do something about it. And I want to share what has worked best for me, because I think a lot and I right now have a fair bit of understanding and observation of my thinking patterns, and I'm going to share what has worked best for me. I'm pretty confident that this will be applicable to most of you who's watching this, if not all of you. So I hope that this will be helpful and take what you can from this video. Okay. Before I get into the 2 points that I want to share in this video, how this thing works of thinking a lot. You might be thinking that you think a lot than the average number of thoughts, which is 60,000 odd thoughts per day. I mean, yeah, on an average. So before I get into that, there are a few things that I want to share before the 2 points. One is, it's okay to think a lot of thoughts. That's fine, I think. Uh, it's about what thoughts we think. If it's all productive, then I think that's fine. If it's a life goal that we have, and if you're mostly thinking about that, then you're eventually going to achieve that goal. If it's all productive thought, I think that's fine, because we might beat ourselves up thinking that, oh, I'm thinking a lot, and that gets into, oh, I'm thinking a lot, that I'm thinking a lot, and that's like a loop. And if it really affects our decision making, if it affects our focus, our attention, and if it drains our energy, then that's a problem. But ideally, my trainees come and tell me, a lot of them, a lot of thoughts run in my mind. What do I do? And this is what I tell myself. Okay, there was another voice, similar conversation that I had with myself, and another voice said, wait a minute, I think that's the nature of the mind. Okay, let imagine a ground, empty big playground, like a forest ground or whatever, and a lot of animals, creatures run on the ground, right? That's the nature of ground. Similarly, mind is like this ground, and a lot of thoughts run on this ground of mind, and that's the nature of mind. But just like a lot of animals run, let it all run. We have to sit some thoughts, make some thoughts sit, let the others keep running. How long can they run? They'll run and then they'll get tired and then they'll just go away. But we need to sit some thoughts, because so those thoughts are important. Eventually, it is best to cut down the number of animals that are running on this ground. So it's not about too much thinking, it's about what we think. Because see, for example, in this video that I'm sharing with you is one of those thoughts, one of those points that I made it sit down, because I want to have a connection with that thought and then share it with you. This is important to understand, because very important point that I want to share is that very thought or realization that you're thinking a lot, that this thought is not like any other thought. This thought has detached itself from the traffic of thoughts, and it is observing the thoughts. And this particular thought or realization is higher than their usual thoughts. Okay, does this make sense? Because this thought is making you reflect on, oh, wait a minute, I'm thinking a lot. That immediately means that you've transcended above the usual daily thoughts that just occupy your mind. So it is a good thing. This is what the first thing that I tell my trainees. It's a good thing that you have observed this. Now let's do something about it. And if it's affecting your day-to-day activities, then that's something that we need to do, and we will do. So having that said, let me share 2 things that influence. Okay. You think a lot because you have specific agendas about certain things, that the way you want life to be, the way you want the processes, the things to happen. So it is ideally good to have the result, the outcome, the goal that you want to achieve in your mind, but not to be too attached to the process that you want to partake in that achievement. So when I say specific agendas, you are actually naturally declining, or you're neglecting certain important laws of nature, that it's not, everything is not under your control. You need to let life flow through you, the process that you want, and not be too stringent on how you want that to be. Okay, focusing on the experience of the life and the things that you do, rather than paying too much attention to details. So because when I say law of nature, um, you have a goal, and that is a good, having that goal is fine, and you have to achieve that, that's fine. Whether it is health, your relationships, whether it's your finance, money, whatever it is, your passion, profession. But if you're thinking too much, and there is always a block, you're not progressing, that means then you're being too specific on the details of how you achieve that goal, right? When people say living in the present moment is important, I totally agree with that. Okay, that is the best thing to do, live in the present moment. But I think that is incomplete. Live in the present moment while always having the bigger picture clear. That is the full statement that I tell myself. Because people who are doing something that is not productive, that is not meaningful, and they know it, they might say that I'm fully in the present moment. Or people who are, playing games in mobile phone, knowing that it is hurting their eyes, physical, neck, and everything, they might say they're completely involved in that. They are in the present moment. But does that add meaning and value to the bigger picture that you have in life? It is all the more important, which means to have a clear goal in life, not completely haphazard. To have a standard and a lifestyle. If you are focusing on the processes and the details, then this is the meaning. So remember this: live in the present moment while always having the bigger picture, right? Don't focus too much on the process, focus on the outcome. Now, this is specific agendas, having being too stringent on how you want things to be, rather than letting life make it happen for you while you're uh, doing it in a released way, doing the endeavors in a released way. The second point is, let me call this social setting or social influence, means the same. See, this is very important because this is what gives you the input. So this is more external in nature. So it comes from the external source and gives you as input. Now this is more internal in nature, in the sense that this happens more inside of you, from depending on what inputs that you give from the external sources. Let me tell you what that means. Which means that, first of all, these both are interlinked. Okay, now when I say social setting, it can be the people that you spend your time with. Some people think a lot, and if you spend some lot of time with that person, you get this habit of thinking a lot. Because what happens is, you might have a conversation with that person 1 hour, 2 hours, and then think, what did I speak? Was there any meaningful conversation that we had? Because they shift from multiple topics, and even within one topic, they give different perspectives without really, finishing a particular point. Have you had this experience? So you'll get what I mean. So that will not have any meaning in the conversation mostly, right? It's just about just talking, something like gossip and stuff. And this is one example of this external input that you're giving. And another good example is, of course, technology. When I say technology, the social media, news feeds, and apps, and statuses, and all of that. You get multiple thoughts, multiple opinions, and everything. You multitask. While the YouTube video is running, you go down to comment sections, and you do a lot of thoughts, inputs are coming to your mind in a short period of time, more than your brain can naturally take in. right? When this input is happening in this manner, then automatically the output, which is your thoughts, will be too much. That's why you think a lot, because you've given a lot. Just like if you eat a lot, give a lot of calories to your body, then you put on weight, you add more calories. Similarly, when you feed a lot of thoughts like this in a short period of time, then you that is input, and the output, which is thinking, your thinking will also be chaos. It will be all around, right? So this is very important. We need to be careful about the inputs that we give. If you notice, our attention span has come down very much. You have advertisements now. Advertisements earlier in the earlier decades used to be 1 minute, 2 minutes, and all of that. Now advertisements are not more than 30 seconds, because we can't focus more than 30 seconds. And we have even YouTube started, for example, and then now we have YouTube Shorts with 30-second videos, short videos. And you notice more and more that we get short bursts of quick, detailed information and emotion and whatnot. So it is all coming down, and which means that in a short period of time we get a lot of input that really affects the output. So these are examples of what the social setting is. External, from the external you get all this, and from there actually it is all stored inside your head. And when you want to think, now okay, now enough of input, now I need to actually live my life, think my thoughts and live my life, act in life, then that will be all around. It'll be kind of chaotic. Now you see, this is why it is very important to go on a subtle level, on thinking level. Now, because what happens in your mind, the thoughts that you think predominantly is what will manifest as the words that you say, the activities that you do, the behaviors that you do. The seed level is in the thought. When that is all messed up, then everything will be a little too messy, or you will find it too difficult to control yourself and handle yourself in situations. Eventually you'll be meeting people and you won't be your best self, right? So it all starts with the thought. There's a subtle thing here. So these are certain things that I want you to keep in mind. First thing is, these are two reasons. Don't be too specific on your agendas. Let life flow through you. Number two is the social setting, which is very important. So which is to say that point number one, cut down the inputs, regulate your inputs, be strict on this. And number two, this is what you should not do. You should not spend too much time with these inputs. And what you should do is spend time with yourself alone, in silence, observing your body, observing your thoughts every day, even if it's for a short period of time, 5-10 minutes or whatever. If you can have a specific time and place, then that'll be best. There are different kinds of meditation that can facilitate this particular thing. So these are the two things that will really be helpful to not think too much. And it's really not that difficult if you really practice this and if you understand how it really works. I hope this was useful to you. And if you have any questions, you can post down in the comment box. I'll be happy to answer them whatever I can. This is how it has helped me. These are just, I hope these words were relevant to what you could take in. And share this video if you think that somebody might benefit from this. Share it with people, and like this video if you do, so that you get more of such videos in your recommendation from YouTube. And take care. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.